Fair Oak Junior School in Southampton have made their school newspaper a vehicle for citizenship teaching. This programme follows the latest edition of Fair Comment, showing how the whole school has a role to play in its production and how this benefits the children in their citizenship learning.
The best thing about working on the school newspaper is that you just get to write what you think. I think it's important for the other pupils to read the paper so they know what's going on. I think it's important that the community of Fair Oak read the school newspaper.
I think the newspaper is a good tool for children to be able to think about their role as a citizen, and it enables them to share ideas, to find out about ideas. It's one of many things that we do at school to encourage children to take responsibility for their own actions and for the actions in the community around them. All the children in the school have a role to play in that every class writes a class article. All members of staff are involved in it. And then as we pull the newspaper together, we use a team of Year 5 and Year 6 pupils to edit the newspaper, and they work with a member of staff a week off timetable to look at the articles, choose where they're going to go in the newspaper, work out the word count, and make sure it's ready to go off to be printed.
Okay, well, welcome to Editing Week, children. You have been specially chosen by your teachers to be our editors for Fair Comment this year. So that's a huge privilege, and I think you're going to do a brilliant job. This is going to be something...
Year 6 class teacher Sarah Peel is responsible for producing the school newspaper.
So I think it gives the children the opportunity to write something that's real, that is going to be produced in a newspaper. Over 5,000 copies are going to be made of it, and they have a real audience.
The time of year has come again when we need to start thinking about an idea that we would like to write for our school newspaper, Fair Comment. And I have an idea of what we could write as our article, but really I wanted to gauge your reaction to see what you thought, whether it would be a good idea. Maybe writing something to do with the tsunami disaster. Anybody any ideas or how they feel about what we could do?
It was a big disaster because it affected so many countries.
Right, so do you think it's important that we let people know that what we did to help the people?
Yeah.
I think it would be a good idea too. Every class in the school actually organised their own events, involved the parents in the school, involved helpers in the school, and we put together a huge fundraising afternoon where we raised an absolutely mammoth amount of money. Can anybody remember how much money we raised?
We raised about £4,000.
When they're working on their class articles, the whole class have to debate what side in an argument they're going to take and how they're going to actually follow that article through and what viewpoints they're going to give. And again, I think that's really good for them learning to be responsible citizens.
We could start off with what sort of information we think we need to put into there that would be important information for our readers to read about. Rebecca?
What each class did.
We could actually mention what each class did.
Writing an article together as a class, I think, teaches them to be part of a team and that their ideas are going to be shared with other people and that it's not always one person that has the good ideas, but everybody has ideas that are valued and valuable. That it's important to work together to shape this article, to say what you want it to say. And it takes quite a lot of discussion and negotiating for that to happen, and that's really what being a citizen is all about.
Who else came into school and was involved in the whole afternoon? Rebecca?
The parents.
Parents, we actually invited our parents in, didn't we? So I think that sort of information would be a good idea to put into the newspaper, how our parents were involved, people from the community, our grandparents, lots of people came in to help support us and make the afternoon as successful as it was.
The tsunami disaster was something that touched the lives of everybody in the school, and people really felt moved to do something about it. The whole school community wanted to join together to take some action. And I think that having taken that action, the children were proud of what they'd achieved. They were so involved and had decided for themselves what they were going to do to fundraise.
Who do you think we need to, do we need to speak to anybody? What other things do you think we need to include? Is there anything as well as the writing of the article that we could actually include in our article as well?
When the Daily Echo came in and we gave them the cheque of £4,000.
Good. So we could actually, as well as that, we could include the photograph of the Daily Echo editor coming in presenting the cheque, and then perhaps we could maybe organise to speak to a few of the people that ran the stalls to see how they felt about it all.
Why have you asked me here today then, Ellen?
The children are encouraged to maximise school resources in developing their stories, so they interview the deputy head about the school's tsunami appeal.
Thank you.
What did the council do to try and fundraise?
We thought that the whole school needed to be involved in it. So we talked about it, we discussed it. There's the teachers and the teaching assistants on the school council and the lunchtime supervisors, everyone who's involved with the school council. And we thought that every class really needed to come up with an idea. We had a juice bar with people in their Hawaiian shirts, people putting on a cinema and selling popcorn in their classrooms. It was just absolutely brilliant. We couldn't believe the ideas. Do you remember what the office staff did?
Did they dress up in their pyjamas for the tsunami?
That's right, and that was really funny.
For our class article, we're writing about what the school did to raise money for the tsunami. We would like to interview you to find out what your class did.
We had this tsunami appeal fundraising day.
There was a treasure map and you had to guess where the treasure was actually buried, and then you could win a prize if you got it right.
In our class we done a lucky dip where you could win like diaries or Elvis Presley glasses.
How much money did you raise?
My class raised around about £60.
I think it's important that there's a balance in the newspaper between the different articles, and we'd want the children to realise that there needs to be a balance, and that being a citizen isn't just about being in the local environment but also stretches further than that. It's national and international, and we want them to be interested in their own locality and the school, but we'd also want them to have a sympathy towards other things that were happening in the world.
We also do challenge articles which are done by our most able writers, and those are again chosen by class teachers. So there's about 10 children from each year group that get involved with that. They spend time at home with their parents organising their research and their ideas, and then they spend a day with a teacher in school actually writing their articles ready for the school newspaper.
Rebecca from Year 6 wrote her challenge article about the Kware Ball.
Kware Ball is an event which raises money for Kware in Africa. I think it's important to see people in need and how much they need our help, and that we can make a difference to everybody in the world.
One of the most important links that the school has is with some schools in Nairobi. We've been supporting a project for the last 10 years. It started with setting up a clinic in the slums and has now developed into schools and the thought of having a hospital.
I think I do learn quite a bit about researching for this article, as I get to know more people and I find out new things about Kware that I didn't know.
Ricky and Hannah from Year 5 go to find out more about the Kware project for their class article.
We decided how to do our class article by just thinking about what would be good in a newspaper that people would actually want to read. And we thought about how long it's been since a Kware update has been written.
The children go to Wyvern College to interview an ex-pupil of Fair Oak who recently visited the project.
When we interviewed Tasha, the pupil who went to Kware just last year, she said that it was improving, definitely, but she was still shocked to see that most families still live in a corrugated house with about as big as a shed with about 10 people living in it.
Could you explain to us what the Kware project is?
It's a charity which everyone in the area and St Thomas's Church helps with and raises money for, so not everybody would be living on the streets.
I understand that you have recently visited Kware, and we'd quite like to know what has changed there since the last update.
Well, the schools and the clinic are a lot bigger and they've got like a lot more supplies like pencils and paper and things like that, and like for the clinic there's like a lot more medicine, and when they get enough money they're going to build a hospital and a new school.
The whole community of Fair Oak knows about this project, and I think that they look forward to having an article in the newspaper that tells them what's happening. They get the children's viewpoint. It's really important for the whole community.
And like raises money for.
There are 2 schools in Quarry, one called Fair Oak School and one called the Church on the Rock School. Since the last Quarry update, the members of staff have dramatically gone up, and so have the children who are going there.
It's very much about the children realising that other people around the world live in a very different way to them, and to really realise that they are citizens not only in a local community, which we also address, but in a global community.
Right, so we have interviewed Mrs. Kelly, is that right?
Yes.
And you've interviewed some of the children who took part and organised the events, and you've got the information from them. So our next step then now is to start to gather that information together that we've got and organise a plan for writing our article. Where would we start?
Starting the information like where it was and when it was.
The children write up their article ready for the editing team to start working on the paper's layout.
The editors are children from Year 5 and Year 6. They are chosen because they are children that are very reliable. You can give them a task and they will go away and do it. They then work with me for a week, so they come off timetable and work on actually laying up the pages of the newspaper.
The school has been running their annual newspaper for 10 years,
That was last year.
costing 29 pence per copy to produce. It's funded from the school's budget and advertising from local businesses. Once the paper's layout is complete, it's sent to the printers where 5,000 copies will be produced.
Oh, there's huge excitement in the school when the newspaper arrives, because everybody's had a part in it, not just the children who've written the challenge articles. Because every class has been involved in writing an article, all the children feel as if they've got some ownership of it. They get them and spread them on their desks and read avidly, spend ages looking through to spot the photographs and see the babies and the staff and the staff views on what their hobbies are and all sorts of things. It's very exciting when it comes into school.
There's my article.
The school newspaper does forge a good link with the community. It's delivered to all the households in our area. And I know that people look forward to receiving it and want to catch up on the school news and like to see how the children have approached different issues.
We read it from cover to cover, looking for articles written by children who we know.
I think it's quite good that they get to think that they're doing something that contributes to the school and that their friends and other mums, etc. will be reading it.
Certainly the older people of the area as well, they get to know what's going on, because usually their children have gone through the schools and they've grown up, and it still gives them the link.
I think people in the community really feel proud of the school and also proud of the school newspaper. They love it when the school newspaper drops through the letterbox. I think it really makes them feel part of the school community too.